This is all about love. It's about our health. It's about our community.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He has trampled out the vision where the lightning and swift sword. He has loosed the faithful lightning of its terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
I just want to say I love you.
We love you too. We love you.
We're out here downtown today celebrating the completion of 4 projects that were voted on during our Downtown Decides participatory budgeting process. And we're riding a bike from one location to the other to do a ribbon cutting in each of the 4 transportation projects. Some of the projects we're celebrating today are new bike lanes in the Central Business District, the painting of an island in the middle of the road yellow so people can see it, and some new trash cans in the Sweet Auburn corridor. This is the direct result of citizens participating in this program. This is the first time we've done participatory budgeting in Atlanta, and it puts the power directly in people's hands on how tax dollars are spent, and we're just thrilled with the response and the success of the program so far.
Chastain Park is the largest park in the city of Atlanta. This is the last piece of the Chastain Park path, and it's taken over 25 years since it began, and we are here at a groundbreaking to celebrate this last piece getting ready to start. You know, the phrase, it takes a village. Well, it certainly takes a village here. There have been lots and lots of organizations who have helped make this happen. I think there are over 500,000 people and probably about 250,000 dogs that use the path each year. It's an asset that is used by many, many people, from young people walking along to people on bikes to people running and exercising and folks coming after work to enjoy a stroll in the park. And the path has really been a catalyst for revitalizing the park, and so lots of park partners here today with NYO and the horse park and the pool, and it's a wonderful time to celebrate together.
Today we're here for an unveiling. We're unveiling an urban farm, one of the biggest urban farms that will be based here in District 3. And we're here to address the food insecurities that this district has faced for decades. And I think what's so innovative about this idea is that we've partnered with Washington High School, with Greenleaf Farms. We're going to be partnering with the American Heart Association to bring together an Ag STEM program that's going to cultivate new, young, fresh blood in urban farming that's going to really be focused on how we can move together as a community in addressing food insecurities within Atlanta. It is time that we take action in our own hands and we start cultivating innovative opportunities like an urban farm, like a grocery retail model where we can pipeline produce into the communities and really help lift up and support our residents.
We're here today at the Maggie Russell Tower to help to provide, along with our partners GenCare and their Executive Director, Councilwoman Carmelita Gum from South Fulton, 80 COVID-19 vaccines for seniors who are here in the building. There are over 400 residences in the Maggie Russell high-rise, but there are about 80 folks who had not received their COVID-19 vaccines. So a lot of the seniors, aren't mobile, meaning they may not have a car or access to transportation, to help them to get vaccinated, to protect them and others who already have been vaccinated in the building from the scourge of COVID-19. It is still important to adhere to the CDC guidelines so that we can beat this pandemic. We are so close to the end of it. Millions of Americans adult Americans have been vaccinated, but we need every American to step up, get a shot in the arm, because it protects yourself, it protects others, it protects our community. The city of Atlanta is still in phase 2. We would like to open up. We can't do so until we have the results in the broader community that our infection rate is beneath 5%, that people are still wearing masks and socially distancing, that everybody is getting vaccinated. The more we do that, the quicker we can go back to normal.
One, two, three, cut.
This is called Centennial Yards, formerly the Gulch, and of course this whole development was passed in 2018 by the Atlanta City Council. So this is one of the first pieces of development. There's about 15 different parcels that will eventually be developed over the next 10 to 15 years. So the first portion here is at Ted Turner Drive and Peter Street, which is in the Castleberry Hill neighborhood. And there's 162 apartments that have been rehabilitated to its natural historic beauty. So this is an old building that was probably built somewhere around 1910. There are studios and 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. So this development is actually the gateway to further development in Southwest Atlanta. Castleberry Hill has really been flourishing along with other areas in Southwest Atlanta. We're just very excited about the development that's happening in this area. It's going to anchor this end of the lower end of downtown Atlanta from Marietta Street, coming back to Castleberry Hill and going further southwest. So this is something that's very exciting, and we're looking forward to more development that will take place.
The Atlanta City Council adopts a resolution urging Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms' administration, the Fulton County Commission and Chairman Rob Pitts, and Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt to conclude their negotiations concerning the proposed letter of intent outlining how the City of Atlanta could temporarily utilize the Atlanta City Detention Center as a location to provide additional programs and services in collaboration with Fulton County and other partners by no later than May 31st, 2021. The legislation states that if there is no conclusion to the negotiations by May 31st of this year, an Atlanta-Fulton County Joint Committee will be established to assess and provide recommendations regarding justice reforms. The Council approves 2 legislative items that will activate 4 sites of public land for use as affordable housing. 3 of the properties are lots slated for development as single-family properties, and 1 is a 0.9-acre lot across from Atlanta City Hall to be developed as mixed-use infill housing in conjunction with Invest Atlanta. The Council greenlights an ordinance amending the city's charter to designate the 2 youth-serving organizations that will each appoint a member between 18 to 30 years old to serve on the Atlanta Citizens Review Board. As a charter change, 3 readings are required to adopt the ordinance. This is the final adoption in full council. The Atlanta City Council says yes to an ordinance amending Section 1.
All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. This is Councilmember Jennifer Ide. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Finance Executive Committee. Today is Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. It is now, I think, 1:31 p.m., so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I know that with me today is my Vice Chair, Howard Shook, Councilmember Joyce Shepard, Councilmember Andre Dickens, Councilmember Matt Westmoreland, Councilmember Madeline Archibong, and I believe that Councilmember J.P. Metskite has a notice in that he was unavailable today. So I believe that is everybody. We have a quorum, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Ms. Kempson-Wright, can you please read the remote meeting statement?
Yes, Madam Chair. This Finance Executive Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with the Official Code of Georgia 5014-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may ask the meeting on the following conference bridge, toll-free access 7579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the Friday, May 7th public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on channel 26, City Council AtlantaGA.gov, or the Council's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Finance Executive Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on Friday, May 7th via atlantacityga.iqm2.com. Public comment was accepted between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. on yesterday, Tuesday, May 11th. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen as amendments, substitutes, and informational documents were distributed to you earlier. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kempson. Right. Before we jump into anything else, I do want to take a moment to remember C.T. Martin, who passed away in this last week, who was a dedicated Atlanta City Council member for nearly 3 decades, and he passed on Saturday. He represented District 10 for almost 30 years and greatly contributed to the city of Atlanta in many ways. This council was able to name the C.T. Martin Natatorium and Recreation Center after him in the Adamsville neighborhood, and we just want to take a moment to remember his tireless service to the city. Let's move forward with the adoption of our agenda. I'll make a motion to approve our agenda.
Second, Shook.
All right, let's open the vote.
Vote is open.
And I know there are a few people voice voting today, so if you're not online, just let us know what your vote is.
Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes. Westmoreland, yes.
All right, there we go. 6 yeses, 0 no's. Our agenda has been adopted. I'll make a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting.
Shook approval.
Let's count that as a second. All right, Archibald?
Yes.
Westmoreland? Dickens?
Dickens, yes. Westmoreland, yes.
All right, so that's 6 yeses, 0 no's. Our minutes have been adopted. I believe we have one public comment, so let's go ahead and play that.
Greetings, committee members and staff, and special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta who tuned in to the 2021 version of the City of Atlanta governance. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Neighborhood Planning Unit R allows no executive committee reports or other committee reports other than selective reporting from the Land Use and Zoning Committee under the perennial control of Annette L. Scott and Clovis Clarence. There is no Finance Committee because the NPUR9 control all money matters. But let's talk finance, NPUR9. Let's talk about Opportunity Zone funding and its potential positive impact upon our community. Let's talk finance, NPUR9. Let's talk CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Funds. Let's talk finance, NPUR9. Let's talk about why the Comprehensive Development Plan is not placed on NPUR agendas. Let's talk finance, NPUR 9. Let's talk about why there's no line item on the NPUR agenda dealing with the upcoming city budget. Let's talk about why the Atlanta Housing Authority's residential management is choosing not to honor its decades-old commitments to Isaiah Thompson, and why this issue has not been taken up by the resident commissioners. Let's talk finance, NPUR. Let's talk about why Atlanta Housing Authority residents are receiving, quote, notices to vacate, unquote. Let's talk about why you are supporting non-affordable housing with a price point greater than $325,000. Let's talk finance in 2021 on behalf of the citizens of NPUR. You NPUR 9 Vice Chair Antonina Robinson, Carlos Claire, Ricardo Jacobs, Alfred White, Lynette L. Scott, Allison Hathaway, Sherry Williams, Cheryl Brown, and all of you NPUR 9 cohorts and supporters. Let's talk finance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard. We have three presentations and reports today, and let's start with the Centennial Yards update, and I believe we have our Chief Operating Officer, John Keene, and representatives from the CIM group.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Thank you, and members of the FEC committee. I'm John Keene, Chief Operating Officer for the City of Atlanta. Today, I'm joined by three members of the CIM team who will provide you all an update on Centennial Yards. Devin McCorkle is Vice President of Investments, Shannon Crowell, Vice President of Development, and Bridget Broyard, who's the Associate Vice President and EBO Manager. The team will go through milestones and progress since the legislation was approved in 2018. This includes the work done at 99 and 125 Ted Turner Drive, where a ribbon-cutting ceremony was just held. They'll also provide an update on the Equal Business Opportunity Program, which is obviously an important part of this project. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Shanna.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I believe my line is unmuted now. Can everyone hear me now?
We can.
Okay, great. I'd like to start our presentation on page 3 of the deck provided, the title of which is 2021 Status Snapshot, Development Milestones. You will see 7 of those milestones, starting with approval of legislation in 2018. We have since had a few wins with respect to validation where the litigation is concerned. We've also had some appeals filed, and we've been successful in thwarting those appeals as well. As you may or may not know, CIM has also made its first affordable housing payment in the amount of $4.6 million. We did so despite the ongoing litigation and validation not being completed, and highlighting some of the last 18 to 24 months of activity will be our execution of critical infrastructure for some of the city's departments within the 160 Trinity Avenue and 185 Ted Turner Drive. We've demolished the Nelson Street Bridge. We have completed the construction documents for that bridge and are soon prepared to begin reconstruction of the bridge. And as John mentioned earlier, we have also completed 125 Ted Turner Drive. As we walk through the slides, I'll provide direction. Let's move on to slide 4. Slide 4 is an image of the 99-125 Ted Turner Drive. This project consists of 162 residences. There are also affordable housing units within this particular project. We are soon beginning construction of the parking lot that serves this particular building, as well as what we call Canyon Retail, 50,000 square feet of which will be open to the public in the not too distant future. Moving on to slide 5, and we'll move through these slides fairly quickly. They depict some of the complexities of the work, including existing conditions of the Nelson Street Bridge, some of the preconditions of the Norfolk Southern corporate offices, and we get to some more pleasant imagery with respect to 125. As you can see, this project, in our opinion, has turned out quite well. We'll start our leasing efforts in about 60 to 90 days. And moving on to slide 6 and 7, as well as those immediately following, you'll see some of the images from the interior of the 125 building. Those slides will run until slide 12, which then highlights the 99 Ted Turner Drive. This will be an additional adaptive reuse project that is currently underway. It will house creative office. Some of the imagery following on pages 12, 13, 14 give you a very clear depiction of the interior of the 99 building. This is after some demolition and preparation for tenant improvement work. We move on to slide 15. That gives you a very nice photograph of our cleanup of the bridgeway between 99 and 125. This is a copper patina finish on this particular building. Going on to slide 16. As I mentioned earlier, we are reconstructing the Nelson Street Bridge. The Nelson Street Bridge will be pedestrian focused, but it will be vehicular capable, and that's to accommodate the need for emergency vehicles if ever necessary. However, it will serve to reconnect Castleberry Hill and the South Downtown area at Ted Turner Drive. Moving on to slide 17. Here's where we begin to show some of the work that we've been doing in partnership with the City of Atlanta's Real Estate Department. This 160 Trinity Avenue is a part of the asset swap previously approved by Council in 2018. And again, in good faith and as promised, CIM has delivered this building for use as operational corporate offices for a few City of Atlanta critical infrastructure departments, such as legal, etc. That project has been turned over and is currently operational and functional. These images in the following slides, 18, 19, 20, give you a depiction of some of the work that has taken place and the level of finish that was achieved in this particular project. As we move forward to slide 21, we get to 185 Ted Turner Drive, which is adjacent to our 99 and 125 Spring Street project. This 185 Ted Turner Drive project is roughly 60,000 square feet of office in downtown, and will also house some critical City of Atlanta departments such as police and fire. We have been underway with base building construction for the last 6 to 8 months, and we are just about to get started with tenant improvement work immediately within the next week or so. This project is scheduled to be completed before the end of the year, and again, will serve to house critical City of Atlanta infrastructure and administrative functions. Moving to slide 22, this gives you an idea of the existing conditions of 185, and on to 23, some of the ongoing work, very basic at this particular point, but moving forward. Slide 24, the same, and we get to slide 25, which highlights some of our equal business opportunity efforts and achievements, and I will turn this over to Bridget Boryard to speak to this particular slide.
Thank you, Shannon. What you see on slide 25 is the effort that we have put forward with our Equal Business Opportunity Program. We are committed to engaging minority, female, and business enterprises within the city, those that are certified through the Office of Contract Compliance, and we utilize that database to reach out to these firms. We used 100% minority and female business enterprises to complete the asset swap work that Shannon just showed to you. And we're also collaborating with Invest Atlanta and Workforce Atlanta to make sure that when we begin Centennial Yards proper, that we have living wage requirements and tracking and measuring for the labor force that will be working on the project.
Thank you, Bridget. That concludes our brief presentation for today. Gives you somewhat of an idea of lots of the activity taking place over the last couple of years and several months. We're glad to take questions if you have any at this particular time.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, I don't see anybody's speaker button pushed, but if you're not on the system and you have a question, just let me know. All right. Well, hearing none, thank you for being with us today. Mr. King, did you have anything else?
I did not, Madam Chair.
Okay. Then we are going to move on to our second presentation, which is on Open Records Act compliance transparency update from our transparency officer, Kristen Dennis.
Good afternoon, Councilmember. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. It's good to be here with all of you. I have a very quick update with some exciting news that I'm pleased to be able to share with you. So if we could go ahead with the slide presentation. The first slide is just the hi, it's me again, providing you with the update. Thank you very much for allowing me to time this update with legislation that's actually going to be on the agenda today. The first thing I just want to do is remind everybody that even though we are in this unique COVID environment where City Hall is closed to the public, the city is still receiving and responding to requests for public records, primarily in electronic format. We do have folks within each department dedicated to handling those requests and providing access to records. The public has been very understanding during this time, and in the fact that since hard copy records are only located obviously at City Hall and access is limited by staff, sometimes it is taking us a little bit longer to provide access to records, but that access is still occurring. And finally, I'd like to take this opportunity every quarter to remind everybody that there is a webpage access to the city's site with all sorts of information about the Open Records Act and how the city complies with it. And as a quick reminder on the next slide, that web page is accessed from our main page by the I Want To tab at the top right, and then you can click on Request Open Records.Moving on to the next slide, I am going to give you an update on the project that I have been working on with AIM for the better part of a year now. Unfortunately, the COVID shutdown happened just as our RFP was about to hit the street, so we had to kind of figure out how all that was going to work in a virtual environment. It took a little bit longer than expected, but I'm happy to say that our RFP process for open records management software is coming to an end. As a reminder, we advertised to the public in April of 2020. We received responses from proponents in August. We had a team of folks from across the city, including law, AIM, aviation, watershed, and police, to do evaluations of the responses in December. And then in February of this year, we submitted a recommendation for an award to the Chief Procurement Officer. And happily, Resolution 21R 3489, authorizing an award of a contract to a company called AIMS Incorporated, is on today's agenda for approval. And hopefully we will be able to, unless there's something that unexpected that comes out, we will begin implementation of the software this calendar year. Next slide, please. So the AIMS Incorporated is actually a team of two companies, AIMS Incorporated and also the Essential Group Incorporated, which is shortened to AGI. AIMS is a minority-owned business out of Maryland, and they've been in business for over 32 years. They have over 15 years of experience with public records software systems. AGI is a specialized IT company with over 20 years of experience. They're located in Atlanta near Greenbrier Mall, and they're registered as an SBA with the city. This team is going to provide implementation support and training for its software system, which is called FOIA Express State and Local. It is a commercial off-the-shelf software product that they are going to be able to customize for any of our specific needs that we can think of. The software is specifically designed to support growth and any future changes to law or policy that we may need to include. And it is currently in use by over 350 federal, state, and local governments. Specifically in Georgia, one of their bigger clients is the Georgia Department of Administrative Services, where the software handles over 400,000 requests per year for records. And of particular interest to all of us who lived through the cyber attack a few years ago, this software is certified for federal levels of security compliance. The contract term that is going to, you'll see in the legislation, is for 3 years. With 2 one-year renewal options from the contract date execution, so for a total of 5 years on this contract. And the not to exceed amount is $394,000 over the full 5 years. $154,000 of that is spent in the first year for the build out and implementation and the training and all of that. And then the remaining 240 years is spread over contract years 2 through 5 if those last 2 are necessary or optioned. The bulk of this money has already been allocated in the budget for my office, which is actually part of the law department's budget. So we have enough funds already budgeted to cover definitely year 1 and possibly years 2 and possibly 3 already. Next slide, please. So the primary goal for the implementation of this software is to comply with the highlighted portion that you'll see on this slide of Atlanta City Code Section 3-31, subparagraph 4, which requires an online form or portal for submitting a request for open records by the public. We have a lot of I have a lot of lofty goals for this software, but the main ones are also on this slide. So first, I really want to streamline the process for the public for submitting open records requests and create standardized procedures for us to respond to those requests. We want to allow for online payment of fees for records wherever that's applicable. And we want to allow requesters an opportunity to be able to log in and track the status of their request and receive automatic status updates, which will free up our open records staff to actually work more on the gathering of the records and the providing of the updates. We also want to be able to provide access to records through the portal and allow for internal tracking of requests and deadline reminders for our staff. And finally, one of the most important things for me is that the software has the capacity to create an audit log of all system activities. And this will allow me as transparency officer to sort of analyze our compliance in a more detailed and granular way, and also to establish performance metrics that we can hold our staff to internally. Next slide. That's actually all I have about the software. I do just want to remind everybody that I am available to conduct virtual open records compliance training and open meetings training as well, which is not the topic of this presentation, but it's out there for any department or any entity that needs it. Open records compliance training is a component of the city's new employee orientation virtual training program. And the other project that I'm still working on that's open is with the Department of Human Resources to develop an online annual training module for all city employees. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you so much, Ms. Denius. Colleagues, anybody have questions about our open records update? All right, not seeing or hearing any, and we will, exciting about your progress on the procurement and look forward to getting to that paper. Next, we have our final presentation, which is really an update. It's from the Department of Human Resources, a follow-up from our last meeting with Commissioner Norman. I think we had a few outstanding questions about the current vacancy rates.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Chairman Ide. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. And so I've prepared for you a presentation. I know there were two questions to follow up on. One dealing with employee health care benefits and really making sure that the council did have a definitive timeline relative to that process. So I'd like to walk you through that first. Then I know the second one was regarding vacancies currently within the city. And so obviously we can touch on that once I get you through the timeline, if you're amenable to that.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay, so should have the presentation. If we can go to slide 2. And so as the City Council is aware, our last RFP relative to citywide employee health care benefits occurred in 2018, and that would have enabled us to move forward with a contract which would have covered calendar year 2019. As part of that agreement, the contract had 2 one-year renewal options, both of which the city has executed for calendar year 2020 and 2021. This benefits contract is over $150 million annually. The Department of Human Resources is currently working with external consultants to inform the scope of our RFP prior to pushing it out. And so we are confident that we should be able to do that so we can move forward in a timely fashion. So that's just kind of where the background on where we are relative to the benefits RFP. We can go to the next slide, which is slide 3. We have also made sure that we have created a collaborative work group to ensure that we have all the players at the table. And so we are working with the Mayor's Office of Innovation and Performance for project management support. And we continue to have discussions with the Department of Procurement as well as the Department of Law as we move forward through this process, anticipating that if we are able to continue to track along that timeline, that we will be ready for execution and open enrollment October and November of 2021, with the expectation that the new benefits program would start in January of 2022. And if we can go to the next slide, which is slide 4. Now, so slide 4 is really the meat of the update, because this is the actual visual that will kind of set out for you the prospective timeline going forward. And so the trigger package, which will start the process, we anticipate that we will have that to procurement on June 1st. Subsequent to that trigger package, the RFP will open on June 16th. We anticipate thereafter to receive all proposals and close the RFP on July the 15th. The collaborative scoring, that will occur July 27th. Those scores will then be received by DOP on July 28th, and final scores will be submitted July 29th. The recommendation for the successful proponent will be provided on August 4th, and thereafter we anticipate that legislation would be introduced at full council on August 16th. Thereafter, that would have a first read through Finance Exec Committee on August the 25th, and then anticipate that there will be a final read on August 30th. Thereafter, we move into the contracting phase with DOP providing those documents to the law department on the 1st of September. The law department reviews that documentation on up to the 7th. We would then anticipate getting that agreement out to the vendor for review on September the 8th, and look for making sure that we have full execution from the vendor on September the 21st. And then we would obviously route that through our normal signature process, anticipating we would then have an active contract by October 7th. And thereafter, we would move forward with open enrollment between October and November, with the anticipated benefit year starting for calendar year 22 in January. If we can go to the next slide, to slide 5. And so, as with all things, we did just want to note for you that to the extent that there are any hurdles, we have already engaged in a plan B for determining whether or not there is an opportunity in the event that the RFP is delayed, that there is an ability to extend our current agreement for a 12-month period. We will continue to monitor that process, but we are confident we will be able to meet the proposed timeline. But just for your awareness, that is also something that we have received several inquiries from some of the existing vendors to determine whether or not that is a possibility, and part of that, whether or not they would be able to provide some cost savings as well for that additional extension. So that ends my presentation relative to the employee health care benefits. And so I'm available for any questions on that prior to shifting to the vacancy discussion.
Thank you. That seems like a pretty tight timeline that we're working under to me. Colleagues, anybody have any questions on the benefits situation and the RFP for a new benefits proposal? Okay, let's move forward with the update to the additional information about vacancies.
Yes, and so the question had been asked about the current vacancy rate at the city. And so going back and looking at the data relative to departments, for funded vacancies, the city is currently has a funded vacancy percentage of 1.32%. Our total vacancy, vacancy percentage, which would also include unfunded vacancies for departments, would be at 16.56%. And so one of the things that, I think is important, I think we talked a little bit about this as part of our vacancy review board process. As you know, last year, the majority of vacancies were unfunded. And as part of the vacancy review board process, we obviously look at existing spend on the salary budgets to determine whether or not departments are able to continue to fill positions. Based on that analysis of that, for example, 16.5% percentage total vacancy for all vacancies, including those unfunded, working in coordination with finance, it would appear that, for example, today, if we were to fill all of those additional positions, we would need to come up with an additional, approximately an additional $58 million. And so if the vacancies continue, basically the main contributors for vacancies at this point are in our public safety agencies. And so the top three would be APD, fire, and then public works. And I think that is responsive to the questions that were posed at last meeting.
Yep, and Mr. Matsakite isn't here today, so I'll let him know that you provided this update, and he can reach out to you if he has other questions. Okay. Colleagues, any other questions for HR? Okay, well, thank you, Commissioner Norman, for being with us today, and thank you for the additional information.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
All right, we are now going to jump around just a little bit in the agenda because to get to some other speakers who are with us today. So let's jump down to item 30, I believe. Let's get my agenda moving. Yeah, we're going to jump down to item number 30, which is 21C0050, a communication from W. Daniel Ebersol, Vice Chair, Audit Committee, submitting the performance audit report, police hiring practices. And this came out of public safety earlier this week with a recommendation to accept and file. But let's hear the presentation. I'm not sure if this is coming from Chief Gibbs or who's going to give us our presentation today, but turn it over to APD.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Ide. My name is Dwayne Braithwaite. I am with the City Auditor's Office. I'll be doing the presentation today.
Thank you, Mr. Braithwaite. You can go ahead.
All right. We're going to begin with slide 1, please. The City Council expressed interest in a performance audit of the hiring process, and on our August 2020 audit of the city hiring process, excluded public safety because the processes are different. Recent civil unrest has highlighted what the media refers to as a crisis in the police hiring and retention across the country. Proceed on to slide 2, please. This report addresses the following objectives. Are police hiring processes for recruits and sworn officers consistent with benchmarks for law enforcement agencies? Are police following recruitment, background training, and hiring procedures for their recruits and sworn officers? How do police hiring practices address community concerns? Our scope for this audit, we reviewed departmental procedures and hiring data from calendar years 2017 to September 2020. Our audit methods included interviewing human resources, human resource information system, and police to determine departmental practices. We also analyzed data of new hires and terminations from January 2017 to November 2020 to analyze attrition, reviewing police's recruitment policies and procedures, relevant media articles, best practices, Georgia Police Officer Standard Training, and the Atlanta Citizen Review Board policies. We also conducted a review of a sample of police hires to examine whether police followed and documented its hiring procedures.
We traced applicants through the recruitment process data from January 2019 to November 2020 to identify stages in the process in which officers became disqualified, and finally reviewing laws and regulations related to police recruitment and hiring. Please proceed on to slide 3. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that employment of police and detectives will grow 5% from 2019 to 2020, faster than the average of all occupations. Despite these demands, agencies are facing difficulty in recruiting and hiring police officers. The profession is facing a workforce crisis with few people applying to become police officers and more people leaving the job, often after only a few years. A member survey conducted in 2019 by the International Association of Police Chiefs states that the challenges of recruiting officers is widespread and affects agencies of all types, sizes, and locations across the country. The survey found that the difficulty in recruiting officers is due to a multiple of social, political, and economic reasons. Civil unrest resulting from use of force incidents has led to officer turnover in the department. The COVID-19 pandemic has further complicated recruitment. According to the department, the pandemic has slowed hiring by extending the process for completing applicants' background checks because the department relies on external agencies to provide information. Social distancing requirements also limit the number of new officers entering the police academy. Please proceed on to slide 4. Although the police department works with the city's human resource department to advertise positions, review applications, enter positions into Oracle, and assist with the onboarding of officers, police employees handle much of the applicant's processing independently of human resources. In other city departments, applicants' background checks are managed by human resources. Police's applicant screening process is also more comprehensive than the process the city uses to screen other employees. The background and recruitment unit manages the recruiting and hiring process. The unit is located within the corporate services section, which is under the support services division in the department. The recruiting process starts with the requisition. After the applicants apply into Taleo, complete a waiver packet, undergo an investigation, after which they receive a conditional offer of employment. Please proceed on to slide 5. Applicants must be a United States citizen, on track to graduate from the police academy by at least the age of 21 years old, hold a driver's license, and have received a high school diploma. Applicants with military history must have been honorably discharged. Successful completion of the cognitive skills assessment must be shown, and applicants must have a visual ability of at least 20 by 100 in each eye, corrected to 20 by 20 with glasses, contact lens, or surgery. Some of the various disqualifications are felony convictions, deliberate omissions, or falsehoods during the interview process. Please proceed on to slide 6. Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act, 42 U.S. Code Section 2000E-2A makes it unlawful for an employer to refuse to hire an individual due to their race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Also, the American Disabilities Act, 42 U.S. Code Section 12112A states that no employer shall discriminate against a qualified individual on the basis of disability in regards to job application procedures. The Georgia Peace Officers Standards and Training Council, established in 1970, entitled 35, Chapter 8 of the Official Code of Georgia, provides guidelines for qualified, trained, and competent peace officers. City Code Section 114 incorporates and is consistent with federal and state laws requirements by defining recruitment criteria. The police department has also incorporated these employment guidelines into the recruitment and hiring procedures. Please proceed on to slide 7. This slide provides an overview of our findings, which I'll discuss in details on the slides that follow. The APD's hiring process is consistent with best practices, and the department has sought partnerships to strengthen its ties with the community. Recent legislation authorized the Atlanta Citizen Review Board to participate in police's hiring process should also help address community concerns. The police department faces challenges due to the stringent requirements to be a police officer. Our recommendations are intended to assist the department to better use the technology to streamline the process and manage applicants' expectations. The chief agreed with 4 of our recommendations and partly agreed with 1. We also made 1 recommendation to the executive director of the ACRB, with which he agreed. Proceed on to slide 8. In order to be able to hire a suitable number of officers who are able to make it through the department's rigorous screening process, APD must begin with a large applicant pool. From 2019 through September 2020, individuals entered 12,129 applications for police officer positions in the city's Taleo system. And of those, police hired 171, which is 1% of the officers. 92% of the applicants who received a waiver packet failed to complete the packet. The waiver packet requires applicants to provide information such as contact information, social security number, employment, residential and financial history, and references. Applicants must also sign an employment waiver stating that the employment is contingent on completing the background investigation and fitness test. Over the same period, 74% of the applicants who underwent the background investigation were suspended from the process, with 19% withdrawing voluntarily. Police's recruitment process is rigorous and is designed to disqualify candidates who fail to meet the department's stringent hiring standards, which is structured to comply with Peace Officers Standard Training Council standards and also best practices. As a result of these stringent standards, police need a large pool of applicants to fill vacancies. Through various partnerships, police involvement with the community strengthens the potential candidate pool for sworn officers by building awareness and trust. Best practices recommend that law enforcement agencies build confidence in the community and work closely with community groups to avoid losing the trust of residents. Police partner with these agencies to offer several community-focused activities throughout the city, aim to strengthen the department's relationship with residents and promote hiring of officers from the community. Please proceed on to slide 9. APD is not fully using the Taleo system to hire officers. This slide shows the same data as the previous slide, but it includes applicants who underwent the police department's background investigation but did not apply through Taleo. The department accepts some applications directly, but we don't know how many. The department conducted background investigations on 346 applicants who were not processed through Taleo. 88 of these direct applicants were hired. Using Taleo more consistently and automating the waiver packet in the system could help to streamline the hiring process and improve communication between applicants and police, likely increasing the number of applicants eligible for hire. It would also help police better track the number of individuals who apply for the positions. Even a small improvement in the waiver packet completion would have a beneficial impact of a 5% increase in waiver packet completion will yield a 50% increase in hiring, assuming the same rate of applicants pass the background investigation. Please proceed on to slide 10. Our review of a random sample of 34 police officer personnel files hired between January 2017 and September 2020 found that overall, the police department is following its hiring process, and the files contain the most applicable records. The files were well organized. 9 of the files were missing fingerprint cards, which police told us were removed to be scanned and uploaded to a federal database. When we provided our list to police, they responded to each item. Police stated the files were missing command staff signatures from the conditional and final memorandum, and 2 files were missing the clinical psychological screening signatures and the physical agility test, all of which police located after our review. Please proceed on to slide 11. The Atlanta Police Department's rigorous hiring process is consistent with POST guidelines for selecting police officers. POST established the minimum training requirements to become a qualified professional trained officer, which police are required to follow. Atlanta police officers' requirements and recruitment process are also similar to East Point, DeKalb County, and Gwinnett County. The department's ideal police officer candidate would meet POST requirements, possess a military background or college experience, be invested in the community, and driven to help Atlanta citizens, which is consistent with the department's mission. Please proceed on to slide 12. Best practices recommend that law enforcement agencies establish community programs to promote hiring within its community and build trust. The Atlanta Police Department builds trust in the community through programs such as the Explorer Program, Police Athletic League, At Promise Youth Center, college internship programs, and Citizens Police Academy. The programs provide an opportunity for the department to interact with the city residents in positive interaction, which helps to build trust and potentially increase the applicant pool. The Atlanta Citizen Review Board was created in 2007 to provide citizen oversight of misconduct by the city's sworn law enforcement officers. City Council expanded ACRB's authority in June 2020 in Ordinance 20-0-1445 to allow it to participate in police's hiring process, to include making hiring recommendations of police recruits and observe applicants' hiring interviews. Police and ACRB have not yet fully implemented this expanded role. Participating in police officers' hiring process is not unique to Atlanta. We completed a comparison of jurisdictions and identified 5 other cities whose citizen oversight entities have similar roles, which is located in our appendix. Please proceed on to slide 13. We reviewed the demographics of the city police officers hired by the city from January 2019 through November 2020 and found that the demographic makeup of the officers is consistent with that of the city's residents. We also noted that police's hiring process does not appear to be biased in terms of gender or race. The hiring criteria are primary objectives, see pages 10 through 11. Also, the demographics of the applicant pool when compared to the final hires do not indicate that applicants were weeded out based on gender or race. The demographic characteristics of hires are similar to the demographic characteristics of the applicants. This exhibit shows all individuals who were hired for the officer position in Toledo, categorized by race and gender. The graphic shows that officers hired with the same demographic breakout. The full exhibit is shown in the report on page 27, which shows that the demographics of individuals as they move through the entire application process. Please proceed on to slide 14. We made 6 recommendations to improve the hiring process, 5 to the police department leadership and 1 directly to the ACRB director. Our first recommendation: the chief of police should partner with human resources to assess the feasibility of automating the waiver packet in Toledo or other application system, develop a video tutorial to assist in waiver packet completion, allow applicants to upload supporting documents to the system, and update applicant status in the system. Please proceed on to slide 15. Recommendation 2, the chief of police should develop a procedure to track applicants who withdraw from the hiring process and survey the applicants to obtain their reason for withdrawal. Recommendation 3, The Chief of Police should continue to ensure consistent record retention and organization of background files and ensure that the officers note when background files are removed for any reason. Please proceed on to slide 16. Recommendation 4, the Chief of Police should work with Human Resources to make the following updates in Taleo or other application systems. Identify the appropriate step and status tool within the system to track and communicate with all applicants, thus managing the applicant's expectations during the hiring process. Contact Atlanta's Information Management to configure the police website home screen and revise application content as needed. Meet with Human Resource Talent Acquisition staff to review the requisitions to determine the correct rolling position ID. Please proceed on to slide 17. Recommendation 4 continued. Police should indicate if the candidate passed or failed within Taleo when the background investigation is completed. They should also complete the employment verification and upload supporting documentation into Taleo, and schedule a Taleo training session with Human Resources regarding downloading and printing of online applications from the Taleo system. Please proceed on to slide 18. Recommendation 5, the Chief of Police should work with the Atlanta Citizen Review Board to develop procedures to comply with the new legislation and incorporate ACRB into the hiring process for officers. And recommendation 6, to the ACRB should consider requiring staff to prepare after-action reports of officers' termination and disciplinary action to identify potentially missed flags in the hiring process that could have indicated an unsuitable candidate. Please proceed on to slide 19. This concludes my presentation, and now if you guys have any questions, now is the time. The full report can be located at the website listed on this slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Braithwaite. Let me see. Whoops, I've gotten kicked out of the system. Colleagues, does anybody have questions for Mr. Braithwaite, or do we want to hear from APD? Anybody have an opinion about that?
This is Matt. If APD is on the line, that'd be great.
Hi, this is Deputy Chief Gibbs. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, hi. Okay. Is there any specific questions, or I can just I can kind of do a little bit of a summary. Obviously, as it relates to recruiting, last year was definitely a difficult year for us. Once the pandemic shut everything down in person, and then of course we had our stuff during the summer, we did participate in 6 virtual job fairs last year, and then we continued to meet with people virtually, not just the virtual job fairs, but when people reached out through Taleo or on our Facebook and Instagram pages and the city's pages, we continued our recruiting processes that way. I know yesterday when we talked to public safety, we also had some changes come up. The state of Georgia, the Peace Officers Standard and Training Council, they put into effect January 1st that any officer that applies to work at any police department in the state of Georgia, before they can begin the process, they have to pass an agility test. So we had to create that, build that agility test, just as all the other law enforcement entities in Georgia did. And we have, now the process starts in person always with the applicant coming there. They take the agility test. Ours is set up at the Adamsville Rec Center, and we're grateful that they have allowed us to use their facility. And then once they pass that test, then we are able to put them into the process. We had our largest number of in-person people this past Saturday, which was 17. 14 of the 17 passed the agility test. We feel like the other 3 will soon, so they began the process. But are there any specific questions or anything else I can address?
Mr. Westmoreland, was that?
Yeah, none from me, maybe from others, but I appreciate the summary.
Okay, and I know that some folks heard all about this at Public Safety Committee earlier this week.
All right.
Motion passed and file.
Okay, that's a motion by Shook, second Shepard. Let's open the vote.
One moment. Vote is open.
All right, Mr. Dickens, are you voice voting?
Dickens is a yes.
And Archibald?
Yes.
All right, 6 yeses, 0 no's. This item has been accepted and filed. Thank you, Mr. Braithwaite, and thank you, Deputy Chief Gibbs, for your time today. We are going to jump also down to item number 32, which was another audit. It is 21C0047, a communication from W. Daniel Eversole, Vice Chair, Audit Committee, submitting the performance audit report, liquor licensing and enforcement. And we had heard the presentation on this 2 weeks ago while it had remained held in public safety. It did come out of public safety on Monday with a recommendation to accept and file. So I don't know, colleagues, if you want to, I think that there was a fairly long presentation and discussion at public safety, I believe. Do we have Deputy Chief Hampton available today if people have additional questions or would like to hear a little more detail?
Good afternoon, I'm on.
Oh, thank you. Councilmember Shepard, is there anything, I know you all had a pretty long discussion, that you think we should know out of, what came out of your committee on Monday?
Well, we did ask a lot of questions on Monday. It's now Wednesday, so I can't remember them all, but was thoroughly vetted. One of the things that we talked about in terms of going forward is looking at some other things we may do with other committees or commissions or things in terms of looking at what's happening with the LRB. One thing, of course, we know that the staff is short. They're short of staff. But it also revealed a lot of other administrative problems. So one of the discussions also was around looking at having civilians to actually, or what we call just administrative people, filling some of these positions that are under the police department, as opposed to it being something that will be done through LRB. As we know, we asked a lot of questions and concerns about, it was a lot of things that went through this whole process. And so there will be some follow-up discussions in terms of recommendations that we will be talking about with LRB. So that's where we are.
Okay, that is helpful. And I did listen in Monday. It wasn't completely clear to me of whether, I'll just say, I think we need to focus on this when we get to the police department budget, that it did seem that one of the pieces of this is a resource issue of whether we have sufficient staffing and resources for these operations. So,
and I hear you, Ms. Odd, in terms of that, but I think what goes along with that is how they actually have the department structured also, which is why I didn't focus on that. I mean, we could make some recommendations to put funding in there for more staff for them, which is obviously needed. But personally, I believe the whole department needs to be looked at in terms of how we could maybe shift some things around and change some things. And so I don't just want to throw money out there because it's not just staff. It's a lot of things that I see to do or changes that may be recommended.
I agree with you, and we probably need to figure out how it should be done most effectively, and then figure out what dollars need to be, if there are additional funding that's needed. But it does sound like there are operational questions to still get resolved. Anybody else have any follow-up questions while we have Deputy Chief Hampton here with us today?
Motion to accept and file.
All right.
Second.
I'm happy.
Second.
Okay. Second by Shepherd. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Mr. Dickens?
Yay.
Councilor Archibald? Maybe you got on the system now. Okay. All right, that's 6 yeses, 0 no's. This item has been accepted and filed. Thank you, Deputy Chief Hampton, for being available to us today. All right, let's jump now back up to the top of our agenda to our ordinances. For first read, I believe we just have one, so I can read that. It is item number 1 is 21-00289, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to amend Chapter 114, Personnel, Article 4, Classification Plan of the Code of Ordinances, City of Atlanta, Georgia, so as to provide for certain position abolishments, creations, reclassifications, class creations, above entry authorizations, employee position transfers, position funding, allocation changes, and other personnel actions in line with the fiscal year 2022 budget and for other purposes. And then there's another one. Item number 2 is 21-00290, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to amend Section 10-46 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Atlanta to permit payment of alcohol license fees by electronic means and for other purposes. So both of those papers will travel along and come back to us. Moving to our, Ms. Kempson, right, we didn't have any other speakers that we needed to go out of order, did we?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our regular agenda, Section I, ordinances for second reading. Item number 3 is 21-00237, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to ratify services rendered in connection with Special Procurement Agreement SPS 1200495 Oracle Managed Services for Siebel CRM and SOM with DLT Solutions LLC, beginning February 15, 2021 through March 30, 2021, and to authorize the CFO to pay the outstanding invoices on behalf of this AIM in an amount not to exceed $74,417.06 in accordance with Section 2-1163. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from Fund Department Organization account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And there is an amendment in our packet, so I will first make a motion to amend.
Second.
Let's open the vote on the amendment.
Vote is open.
And the amendment updates the accounts for Public Works. Councilor Archibald?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yes.
All right, that's 6 yeses, 0 no's on the amendment. Make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Let's open the vote on that. Dickens?
Open.
Dickens, yay.
Archibald?
Yes.
All right. That's favorable as amended with 6 yeses and 0 no's. Item number 2 is 21-00238, an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor designee to enter into amendment number 11 for FC 7148 Citywide Security Guard Services with Dynamic Security, Inc. to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for up to 4 months from May 31st, 2021 through September 30th, 2021, and to increase the billable rate from $13.83 to $15.50 on behalf of Department of Enterprise Asset Management, Department of Parks and Rec, Municipal Court, Department of Watershed, in amount not to exceed $792,933.50 in accordance with Section 2-1163. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibong?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yay.
All right, that item's favorable. 6 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 5, 21-0239, an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor and designee to enter into amendment number 10 with FC 8147B, citywide plumbing maintenance and services with the Plumbing Shop, Inc., doing business as Quick Action Plumbing on behalf of Dean, APD, Aviation, Corrections, Parks and Rec, Public Works, Transportation, Fire and Rescue, Watershed Management, to extend the terms of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period of 6 months beginning June 27, 2021 through December 26, 2021, in accordance with Section 2-1163, in an amount not to exceed $1,200,000.00, all contracted work to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed, of which funding shall be subject to and contingent on adoption and approval of fiscal year 2022 budget and for other purposes, because this is mostly in the next fiscal year. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
All right, Archibong?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yay.
This item's favorable with 6 yeses, 0 noes. Next item is item number 6, 21-0240, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor and her designee to execute amendment number 3 for FC 6737, citywide parking management and fee collection services with Central Parking Systems of Georgia, Inc., to extend the terms of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period up to 12 months, effective July 22nd, 2021 through July 22nd, 2022, on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Asset Management in accordance with Section 2-1163. All fees collected shall be deposited into the Fund Department organization and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Quick question for law. Does this one need to have the language about funding being subject to and contingent on the budget? And maybe it does in the body of the ordinance.
Good afternoon. This is Amber Robinson from the City of Atlanta Department of Law. I will review that and let you know if that is appropriate to move forward, if I may.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and move it forward. And again, it may be buried down in there. I just noted that the one before that was a fiscal year 2022 period, we had it in there. I'll make a motion to approve. And if we need to come back to it at the end of the meeting, we can. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibong?
Yes.
Dickens?
Yay.
All right. This item is favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. All right. Bringing us to item number 7, which is 21-0241. We do have a substitute that increases the amount from $480,000 to $1.1 million. It adds language about it being retroactive, and it increases the tree planting and stump grindings from $600 to $1,200, and adds the required procurement and real estate language. So I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
Open the vote on bringing forward the substitute.
The vote is open.
All right, Archibald?
Yes.
And Dickens?
Yay.
All right. The substitute is before us with 6 yeses, 0 no's. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up the new caption. All right. The new caption on the substitute reads, hold on, 241. A substitute ordinance by Finance Executive Committee, an ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the City of Atlanta to exercise the first renewal option of Agreement FC 8832 Urban Forestry with Triscapes, Inc. for the planting and maintenance of trees in the city's right-of-way and on other property for a term of 4 years effective from July 3rd, 2021 through July 2nd, 2025, and amending the fiscal year 2021 Tree Trust Fund budget by transferring an amount not to exceed $1,171,500.00 to the fiscal year 2021 budget of the Department of Parks and Rec, and to execute an amendment to the agreement to modify the cost proposal on contracted work charged to and paid from funds, department, organization, and account numbers listed here below and for other purposes. And just because trees are on everybody's mind these days, I'm going to ask Mr. Voss, if he's with us, just to quickly tell us about this paper.
Chair and members of council. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of council. This is Doug Voss, Director of Parks. As you stated, this ordinance authorizes the first renewal of our urban forestry contract for planting trees and maintaining them in the public right-of-way and other locations. It includes 1,200 trees, 600 in the first planting season, 600 in the second, as well as 1,200 stumps ground, which creates additional planting locations. And I know that's an important function that we get the stumps off the right-of-way as well. This contract also includes community outreach. It includes a 2-year warranty for all of the trees, and all of the trees are logged into the city's database, Davy Tree. Thanks for your consideration. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Sure. Anybody have, let's see the speaker button pushed. Councilmember Shepherd.
How do you do this community outreach again, Mr. Voss? How do you do the community outreach?
I knew you would ask me that question, Councilmember Shepherd, because we've worked closely with you on this over the past, and we actually do a double flyer. As you know, in the past, we actually put flyers at people's mailboxes if we're planting in the right-of-way with the city seal on it. That was one thing that you and I worked together on to make sure people know these were approved by the city. And then we do a second flyer, and we also notify council districts before the trees are planted, just so you have an awareness that they're in your district and these trees were intended for planting locations. We have a little flag that goes into the ground 2 weeks before the planting, and it has the contact information if someone wishes to get more information, or if they wish the tree location be adjusted, we can do that.
So you're saying you send that notification to council members before you start the planting to let you know that we're getting ready to plant in my district, in any district, not just my district, any district?
Yes, that's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the tree stump thing, how do we identify trees? I know where there are some in my district and sidewalks. Is that something that you all are doing, or is that another that's a contract with another company? Again,
no,
I didn't ask.
No, it's an excellent question. Every time we take down a tree, that stump is recorded, and we have that in an asset database. What this contract allows us to do is dump that database into a contractor. They then go out to all those sites, and then when they're completed, we take them back out of the database. Just last year, we finished our last group of 600 stumps, and we have plenty more to go, so this is a great contract to have.
Okay, I'm just saw that, and I'm going to be sending some to you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, sure. With a question, I've been kicked off yet again. Mr. Voss, how much funding is going to activities other than, planting and guaranteeing trees?
In terms of the Tree Trust Fund budget itself?
Yeah.
That I'd have to ask Department of City Planning. What we do on these is we ask for a budget based on the contract. We get it approved and reviewed by them, and then we bring it to council. But for other expenses in terms of how much money, it would be a city planning. But I'm happy to get that information for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll abstain pending that information. Thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions, let's open the vote.
One moment. Councilmember, who was our second for this item?
Oh.
Westmoreland second.
Westmoreland. The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes.
Let's see. Shook was abstaining. We have everybody now? Are we still counting votes?
One moment, Madam Chair. We're trying to close the vote. And if Councilmember Shook is abstaining, I believe he has the option to press that on his screen.
I think he had gotten knocked off.
Okay, we can record it for him. We apologize. We can record it for you.
All right. Are you back in, Mr. Shook?
Negative.
Okay. Seems to be a challenging technology day. All right, this item is favorable with 5 yeses and 1 abstention. And I got a note that law has an update on my question about the pending budget approval language.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Hi.
are you there?
Hi. I am. Thank you so much, Councilmember. That's right. On 21-0240, the language concerning the upcoming budget approval is not necessary for this particular piece of legislation as it's revenue generating. And so the only language necessary is to set forth the account in which the revenue is to be deposited.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we're on item number 8, which is 21-0242, an ordinance by finance exec authorizing the mayor or designee to execute all appropriate documents for the acquisition of certain property interests necessary for the completion of the Connolly Vault Sewer Capacity Relief Project on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management, authorizing negotiations with property owners for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing title searches, appraisals, surveys, environmental studies, and other items necessary for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing the mayor and the city attorney to initiate condemnation proceedings pursuant to the Declaration of Takings Method, OCGA 22-3-140 and 32-3-4, or other condemnation method as may be appropriate pursuant to OCGA 22-2-1. Waiving Article 10, Real Estate and Procurement Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, all contracted work and payment for property interests will be charged to and paid from the fund department organizations and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. I believe we have Commissioner Browning with us, and if you could just tell us a little bit about the project, and since it does state in the legislation that there's a potential of condemnation, if you'll just tell us if you feel like that's a likelihood, or if we're just, putting that in there to cover our bases. Oh, and is this one, I'm getting a note, is this one supposed to be held? Is that the request of the administration?
Yes, Madam Chair, we did receive a message that the administration and department wish to hold this one.
Okay. All right, then we will, I'll make a motion to hold, and we will get to this one at our next meeting.
Second.
All right, second from Westmoreland, I believe. Let's open the vote on the motion to hold.
Vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
Dickens, yay.
All right, that's 6 yeses, 0 noes. This item will remain held in committee. Next item is 21-00243, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to amend Section 146-26 B, C, D, E, and F of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Atlanta so as to change the ad valorem tax rate of real and personal properties for the general levy, debt levy, city parks levy, school operating levy, school debt levy, and the special tax district levy to provide that the tax rates established herein shall remain fixed each year until amended or repealed, and for other purposes. For right now, we are going to hold this until we get a little bit closer to budget time. So that's my motion.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibong.
Dickens, yay.
All right, that's 6 yeses, 0 noes. This item will remain held in committee. Next item is item number 10, 21-00244, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to authorize the mayor or her designee in accordance with the provisions of Section 2-1163 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to exercise renewal number 1 for FC 9334 Business License and Cashier Management System with Tyler Technologies, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Finance for a term of 1 year effective May 3rd, 2021 through May 2nd, 2022, in an amount not to exceed blank and 0 cents to be charged to and paid from the following fund, department, organization, and account numbers and for other purposes. And I believe it is the desire of the administration that we file this. I make a motion to file.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Let's see. Dickens.
Dickens, yay.
Archibong, yay.
All right, that's 6 yeses, 0 noes. This item has been filed. Item number 11 is 21-00245. An ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to enter into amendment number 2 for FC 8076 arbitrage rebate calculation services with Hilltop Securities Asset Management LLC to extend the term of the contract on a month-to-month basis for a period of up to 8 months retroactively, effective beginning April 28, 2021 through December 27, 2021, on behalf of the Department of Finance to provide arbitrage rebate calculation services for the Department of Aviation, General Fund, Department of Watershed Management, Tax Allocation District, and other portfolios in an amount not to exceed $48,625.0 to ratify services and outstanding invoices rendered in accordance with Section 2-1163 of the Code. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from various fund accounts listed herein and for other purposes. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
See Archibong and Dickens.
Dickens, yay.
I think that was a yes from both of them.
Yes, it was.
All right, that is 6 yeses, 0 noes. That item is favorable. Item number 12 is 21-00246, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to correct project numbers and funding sources in Ordinance 21-0-0096 and for other purposes. This was our development impact fee ordinance, and I believe the Department of Finance, once they got into that, realized they just needed to make some account project number corrections. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
Mr. Dickens?
Dickens, yay.
All right, this item is favorable. 6 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 13 is 21-0-0247, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary for the acquisition of certain property interests necessary for the Cleveland Avenue and Old Hapeville Road Traffic Combo Number 1 project, authorizing negotiations with property owners for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing title searches, appraisals, surveys, and other items necessary for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing the mayor and the city attorney in the event negotiations are unsuccessful to institute condemnation proceedings pursuant to the declarations of taking method, waiving certain provisions of Article 10 of the Real Estate Procurement Code, all contracted work and payments for property interests to be paid by BCID and for other purposes. If we have Commissioner Rowan with us today, if you'll just give us a quick overview of this, and if you anticipate we'll have to result in those condemnation proceedings. Oh, and I'm sorry, I see Councilmember Shepherd has her speaker button pushed.
No, you go ahead and let him speak first. That's fine.
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is Josh Rowan, Commissioner for Atlanta Department of Transportation. This is a intersection improvement project at the intersection of Cleveland Avenue and Old Hapeville Road. It's a new traffic signal, ADA ramp, construction, and sidewalks. Generally, these are fairly uneventful when it comes to the acquisition. We'll need easements for driveways and additional space to work. I seriously doubt any condemnation will be required for an intersection improvement.
Okay, Councilmember Shepherd.
No, he answered my question. So that's great. Mr. Rowan, at some point, have you discussed this? I know you was at the NPU meeting last month. Did you discuss this with the NPU meeting last month? I was not there.
No, ma'am. This project did not come up in the NPU meeting.
Okay, just send me a scope of it, and I knew a little bit about it, but just send it to me so that I can share it with the NPU. Thank you.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
All right, I'll second that. Let's open the vote. Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yay.
Let's see, is the vote still open? Do we have Mr. Westmoreland? All right. Looks like this item is favorable with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Next item is item number 14 is 21-0-0248, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to enter into Amendment Number 1 for FC 9878 Construction Project Management Software System with eBuilder Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation and the Department of Planning to add 2 additional 1-year renewal terms to the agreement and exercise renewal option number 3 in an amount not to exceed $229,037.81, and to authorize the CFO to pay outstanding invoices for services rendered during the 90-day extension period in an amount not to exceed $43,669.96, all work to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes. I will make a motion to approve. Second. All right, let's open the vote on item number 14.
The vote is open.
Dickens, J.
Yes. Bonds? Okay.
Yes.
All right, this item is favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. Brings us to item number 15, which is 21-0249, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary for the acquisition of certain property interests necessary for the 10th Street multimodal bridge improvements, authorizing negotiations with property owners for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing title searches, appraisals, surveys, and any other items necessary for the acquisition of such property interests, authorizing the mayor and the city attorney in the event negotiations are unsuccessful to institute condemnation proceedings pursuant to the declarations of taking method, waiving certain provisions of Article 10 of the Real Estate Procurement Code. On behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, all contracted work and payments for property interests to be paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. There is an amendment in our package, and let me find the amendment. I'll make a motion. The amendment adds updates the language in Section 5, referencing the Chief Procurement Officer authorized to administratively settle without further authorization of City Council those acquisitions which exceed this limit. So I will make a motion to amend. Second. Open the vote on the amendment. The vote is open.
Dickens, yay.
Archibald, yes.
Will everyone please vote? Do we have Mr. Westmoreland? Are you voting online?
Trying. There we go.
All right. That is 6 yeses, 0 noes on the motion to amend. Commissioner Rowan, will you just give us the rundown on this one also?
Yes, Madam Chair. Josh Rowan, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Very similar story, different location on 10th Street between Techwood and Williams. The concept is to install lighting, fencing, landscaping, and also to improve the bicycle connections as well as the pedestrian experience in the intersection. So it's a very, very small piece of roadway. Again, we'll need easements to make this work. We anticipated only impacting 7 properties, so there's slim chance of condemnation on this one as well.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Second. Let's open the vote. The vote is open.
Dickens, yay.
Archibald, yes.
All right, this item is favorable as amended with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 16, we're going to substitute it and then hold it. It is 21-0250, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee adopting the fiscal year 2022 proposed budget to include all funds and for other purposes. See in our packet. I believe we have the substitute in our packet, so I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
Let's open the vote on the substitute. The vote is open.
Okay, Archibald, yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right, so the substitute is before us with 6 yeses and 0 noes. We're going to hold this just to let the budget process roll along a little bit further. I don't know if, Mr. Bell, if you want to speak today or just wait until we have it. It does have our revenue anticipations listed in there. That's what the substitute did for people who are listening in and who are interested. Our general fund anticipated revenues for the coming fiscal year are $706,779,181. Anyway, I will make a motion to hold, and we will get to this in a couple of weeks.
Second.
Let's open the vote on the motion to hold.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yay. No, just kidding. Dickens, yay.
It's been one of those. Archibald, yes.
All right, 6 yeses, 0 no's. The substitute will be held in committee until we are ready to get to this. All right, I'm going to take a series of council member papers together, but first I'm going to jump. We're going to do 17, 18, 20, 21, but 21 needs to be substituted first. And let me see, Ms. Kempson, right, because we had an additional substitute to this that changed the caption. So let me just find it. I'm going to read the caption to the substitute, which is 21-0268, an ordinance by Councilmembers Matt Westmoreland, Jennifer and I, Natalie Mosley Archibong, and Andre Dickens, as substituted by Finance Executive Committee, an ordinance authorizing a donation amount not to exceed $6,000.00 from the Post 2 at Large, District 6, District 5, and Post 3 at Large carry forward accounts in memory of Judge Lee Dupree to In-Town Collaborative Ministries and for other purposes. So I am going to make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
Let's open the vote on that.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yay.
All right, the substitute is before us, and just waiting for the numbers to update. I believe that should have been 6 yeses. It's still showing as 4.
Did we get a voice vote from Councilmember Archibald?
I'm not sure. Councilmember Archibong, are you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that is 6 yeses, 0 no's. The substitute is before us. Before we vote on that, I just want to thank Councilmember Archibong and Dickens for joining me and Mr. Westmoreland on this paper. This is a paper that Mr. Westmoreland and I were doing to give a contribution to In-Town Collaborative Ministries, which is a fantastic organization that works with our unhoused population in Atlanta. And we had put the paper in, and then we got the sad news that Judge Lee Dupree from our municipal court had died, and Judge Dupree was not only a judge, but a friend of mine and a constituent of mine who was a dedicated public servant and judge, and just an all-around fantastic person. And we acknowledged her at our council meeting last week, which I think took everybody a little bit off guard because she died quite suddenly. But we, Mr. Westmoreland and I, In-Town Collaborative Ministries was an organization that was near and dear to Judge Dupree, and we wanted to make this donation in her memory of all of her service to the city of Atlanta. and its residents. So that's part of what the substitute did, was add the additional donations and make the donations in memory of Judge Lee Dupree. So I will make a motion to approve on substitute.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes.
Dickens, yes.
All right. That item was favorable on substitute, 6 yeses, 0 noes. I had said I was going to do that as a group, and I didn't do that. So let's go back up to item number 17, and I believe that Councilmember Smith may be with us for this. It is 21-00256, an ordinance by Councilmember Carla Smith authorizing the transfer of $15,000.00 from the Council District 1 carry forward account to the Council District 1 at-large salaries, permanent part-time account, and for other purposes. I'm going to read the other ones in as well, and then if Councilmember Smith or Councilmember Overstreet want to say anything, I will recognize them. 18 is 21-00257, an ordinance by Councilmember Andre Dickens authorizing the transfer of $20,000.00 from the Post 3 at-large carry forward account to the Post 3 at-large salaries, perm part-time account, and for other purposes.
Let's see. If you would just pass them, please.
Okay, we will do that. I'm going to jump down to item number 20 is 21-00261, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer and I authorizing donation in an amount not to exceed $250 from the District 6 carry forward account to Midtown Neighbors Association for the Midtown Garden Stroll and for other purposes. And I did 21. So those 3, 17, 18, 20, let's take those as a block. I make a motion to approve those 3. And then we're going to go back and do 19.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on 17, 18, 20.
Dickens, Jay.
Archibald, yes.
All right, let's see. Those 3 items were favorable, and we've got a little bit of a slow system today. Are we still updating the count?
No, ma'am. It's showing 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Oh, all right. I guess my computer has frozen up. It's showing 4 on my screen. All right, I'm going to hit reload and see what happens there. All right, those 3 items are favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. Let's go back to 19, which is 21-00258, an ordinance by Councilmember Carla Smith providing for the issuance during fiscal year 2021 of $4 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Atlanta general obligation bonds for various purposes pursuant to and in accordance with an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Georgia ratified at the general election held on November 5th, 1968, and proclaimed by the Governor of the State of Georgia on December 13th, 1968. And this needs to have a public hearing, so I think that we need to move it forward with no recommendation to allow for the public hearing. So that would be my motion, to move forward with no recommendation. Oh, no, wait, I'm being told that we have a substitute that adds in the financial data. So that's going to be the motion first, is to bring forward the substitute. My apologies. My computer is trying to start back up.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on bringing forward the substitute.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes. Okay, Archibald, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And all right. The substitute is before us with 6 yeses, 0 no's. Apologies for the technology glitches slowing me down. Councilmember Smith, did you want to speak to this paper?
Well, Councilmember Overstreet and I are both here. I'd like to request just a little housekeeping, which is to add Councilmember Overstreet's name to this paper.
Sure. Okay. I am happy to make a motion to amend to add Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet as a co-sponsor.
Shook would like to add his name as well. I've been kicked off the system yet again.
Okay. I will make my amendment to add Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet and Howard Shook as co-sponsors. And Councilmember Overstreet, did you want to speak, or was that your request as well?
Oh, yes, that was my main request, is to be added to this, because the sole purpose, I'm not sure if the substitute is given all of the details, but the sole purpose is to add emergency medical to Southwest Atlanta. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that we get this done. From what I understand, the response times are causing a problem with the actual health of individuals. They're not getting where they need to be in time when they're calling for emergency medical. And it's important that we fill this gap. And it's really been going on for a really long time. So I am happy. I really applaud everyone for putting us in this position right now. And I'm asking for colleagues to please support the paper, and to also applaud the fact that we are plugging a gap in Southwest Atlanta with this paper. So we'll have the public hearing on Monday, and I'll make sure I have my ears open on Monday. And I thank you, Councilmember Smith, and CFO Council for understanding how important it is that a council member is a part of a journey this important to the community. And thank you very much. So, yes, please, let's move it forward without recommendation.
Okay. And Councilmember Shepherd.
What number are we talking about at this point? Are we talking about number 19?
I'm sorry. I got all
19.
Yeah.
It's for $4 million.
21,258.
So that is not the one. I believe the one that we're talking about, Miss Overstreet, was that one is coming off of hell, because this one talks about something else. Am I confused about this, Miss Smith? This says that your obligation bond for public hearings for these bonds, but it talks about the John Birding Center and all these other places. So we're taking that out and we're now substituting it for the EMS. Is that what we're doing? I'm told.
What's going on is my medical background is fixing to show, so that's why I'm doggedly involved with this paper.
No, Ms. Smith, before you go on, I just want to get clarity that we're replacing, because the original thing talked about stuff in reference to. Somebody briefed me on it earlier today, and I actually have Fire Chief Smith is on too. So I asked him about the EMS. It's just that what's described in terms of the description of the paper, it's not what you all just talked about. And I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page with the same papers. That's all. I understand what it is. Maybe Mr. Smith should come forward. Chief Smith should probably talk about it too. If this is the EMS paper, I have no problems with it. I just wanted to get clarity that we're talking about the same paper. That's all.
It is the EMS services paper.
Okay. All right. I have no problems with that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm straight on this. So the $4 million GO bonds is the paper that people want to name to add their names on. We're all on the same page that it's item number 19.
Yes,
okay.
Chairperson, I agree.
Okay. And I think for colleagues, the substitute wasn't in our original packet, which I think is part of where some of the confusion is coming from. We got it after the packet was sent out. So, Ms. Kempson, right? It was emailed out separately.
Yes, we received it after the committee packet had been distributed to everyone. It was emailed to everyone at 1:19. The substitute updated the project description for Exhibit A, which previously had conversion of a portion of the municipal court to a city detention center, and it updated it to reflect the construction and equipping of an emergency medical services micro station in Southwest Atlanta. And it also added the funding maturity payments in Section 1.
Okay.
I apologize for it being a little bit late.
That's okay. So I think everybody's on the same page now. That was just a little bit complicated. I had made a motion to add Overstreet and Shook. Had there been a second on that?
Second.
All right. Second by Shook. Let's open the vote on the amendment to the substitute.
The vote is open.
Dickens, J.
I'm still seeing 4 yeses. We still updating? We're waiting. Councilor Archibald, I may have missed you.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. Okay, that is 6 yeses, 0 no's. Approve. No, I'm sorry. That was on the amendment to add the names. Now we need to make a motion to move forward with no recommendation.
Yeah, pending
the substitute as amended, so we can have the public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote on that. Boy, you're complicated, Councilmember Smith.
Sorry.
The vote is open.
Dickens, J.
Archibald, yes.
If I said add my name to the paper, y'all will go bananas. So I won't do it.
Why don't you wait and see what happens at the public hearing?
Yeah,
there's
do it
always
Monday.
a chance before that.
You can jump in on Monday.
All right, that was 6 yeses, 0 no's of moving forward with no recommendation, the amended substitute, and it looks like Councilmember Shook would like to speak.
Yeah, thank you. I hope everyone feels really good about what was accomplished here today. As council long haulers know, this has been a relative blind spot in the city's safety net as regards to public safety. And so a lot of years have gone by, at least a decade, where this was publicly acknowledged. And, you know, it's been in the CDP inert forever. There's a twin blind spot, as has also been mentioned during those same proceedings, that remains unfilled. And I look forward to working with the administration and council to extend the safety net so that it covers everybody. Thank you.
We can do that.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Councilmember Shook. All right. Let me get my place. We had done 20. We had done 21. That is the end of our ordinances, bringing us to Section J, our resolution. Item number 22 is 21R 3438, a resolution by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the City of Atlanta on behalf of the Mayor's Office of One Atlanta to accept a donation of marketing and communication services valued in an amount not to exceed $40,000.00 from the Carter Center in furtherance of the City of Atlanta's service as one of the inaugural cities in the Carter Center's Inform Women, Transform Lives campaign and for other purposes. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
Archibald, yes.
The vote is open.
Dickens, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 23 is 21R 3488, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to exercise the third renewal option of Cooperative Purchasing Agreement FC 8869 Kings 3 Elevator Emergency Telephone Equipment Monitoring, Maintenance, and Dispatch Services with Kings 3 of America, Inc., North America, doing business as Kings 3 Emergency Communications on behalf of AIM for a term of 1 year effective July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and amount not to exceed $26,410. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein, subject to and expressly contingent upon the adoption and approval of the fiscal year 2022 budget and for other purposes. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Open the vote on item 23.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
Dickens?
Yes, Dickens. Yes.
That is favorable. 6 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 24 is 21R 3489, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute an agreement for RFP F1200331 Citywide Public Records Management System implementation with AINS, Inc. on behalf of the Department of AIM and the Office of Transparency for a term of 3 years with 2 one-year renewal term options in an amount not to exceed $394,000.00. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. This is the paper that Ms. Denius, our Chief Transparency Officer, mentioned in her report. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
Yes, Dickens.
This item is favorable. 6 yeses, 0 noes. Ms. Denius, we look forward to you getting this up and running. Item number 25 is 21R 3490, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor who doesn't need to exercise renewal number 3 for agreement FC 9316, Workiva, Inc., implementation of a comprehensive annual financial report tool with Workiva, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management, Department of Finance, Department of Aviation for a term of 1 year beginning June 19, 2021 through June 18, 2022, and an amount not to exceed $127,890. All contracted work shall be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Ms. Robinson, how about this one? Does this need the budget language in it?
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me again take a look at that, and I will confirm that for this committee.
Okay. Let's move ahead, and if we need to do anything, we can reconsider it. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
All right, this item is favorable with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 26 is 21R 3491, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute special procurement agreement SPS 1210224A, landfill recycling facilities with Safeguard Landfill Management LLC on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Watershed Management for the purpose of disposing materials associated with the construction and repair of the Department of Watershed Management's water distribution and sewer infrastructure systems pursuant to Section 2-1191.1 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for a term of 2 years with 2 one-year renewal term options in an amount not to exceed $480,000, all contracts of work to be charged to and paid from the funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to approve. Was that a second by Shook?
She.
Okay. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibong.
All right, this item is favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. Item number 26 is 21R 3491, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute special procurement agreement STS 1210224A landfill. I'm sorry, is that the one that I just read, Ms. Kempson, right?
We're on 21 or 3492. They are actually very similar. One is A and one is B.
Okay. All right. 27 is 21R 3492, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute special procurement agreement SDS 1210224B landfill recycling facilities with Republic Services of Georgia LP DBA Pine Ridge Landfill on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for the purpose of disposing materials associated with the construction and repair of the Department of Watershed Management's water distribution and sewer infrastructure systems pursuant to Section 2-1191.1 of the City of Atlanta ordinances for a term of 2 years with 2 one-year renewal terms and an amount not to exceed $320,000.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
And it sounds like for these contracts we're doing right now that do span the new fiscal year that there is the required language within the body of the resolutions about pending approval of budgeted funds. All right, Archibong?
Yes.
Okay. This item's favorable with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 28 is 21R 3493, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor who designate to issue task order number F 21056 for contract FC 10641B, job order contracting services small with Brown and Root Industrial Services LLC for the purpose of installing CFRP structural reinforcement for high density file storage of the Department of Law on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Asset Management, and not to exceed $187,286.18. All work to be charged to and paid from the account listed herein and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
All right, this item is favorable with 6 yeses and 0 noes. Item number 29 is 21R 3494, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor who designee to execute the Second Amendment to Agreement FC 10670, Heating and Air Conditioning Services with ARS Mechanical LLC on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Asset Management to add funding to the agreement on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management in an amount not to exceed $750,000.00. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vote is open.
Yes, Archibong.
This item's favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. Ms. Robinson, are we good on the Workiva paper?
Yes, council member, that's correct. The funding for this particular project is coming from the fiscal year 2021 budget for this renewal year, and there will be no need to alter or affect the fiscal year 22 budget for this. So all the funding is in place currently.
Okay, thank you. We are now in section K, our dual referred items. We have already disposed with item number 30. Item number 31 is 21-0267, an ordinance by Councilor Jennifer and I to amend Chapter 10, alcoholic beverages, to require that all alcohol licenses issued by the City of Atlanta shall be posted and displayed in a public and conspicuous place on the premises of the licensee's establishment, to require that all alcohol licenses issued by the City of Atlanta shall have printed thereon the specific designation or type of establishment for which the license has been issued, the general allowed days and hours of operation for the location, and written notice to the licensee that the license with the hours of operation must be posted in a public and conspicuous place within the establishment for which the license is issued and for other purposes. This was dual referred to public safety, and it was favorable out of there on Monday. This is a paper that really came out of the paper I did a couple of months ago on auditing restaurants to ensure that they were complying with their 50% rule and 5% package stores. And when I was working with the police department and finance on that, on identifying the realm of establishments to be audited, we discovered that it was not very accessible within the city's record keeping of, and certainly not within finances record keeping of who has a restaurant license versus a nightclub license and so forth. And so I've worked with law and finance and APD to do this paper that will have it printed on the alcohol license itself and require that, just like the state license is required to be posted, that the city license will be posted. In this way, when beat officers go to an establishment, they will have that information right there in front of them, because I've certainly had heard from APD officers that, you know, if they're responding to a 911 call and it's not an officer from license and permitting, they don't always have that information there on what the rules of operation are under the establishment's license. So I will make a motion to approve, and I hope that this can help with some of our enforcement issues.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote. I think that I heard Shook first.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
All right, this item is favorable, 6 yeses, 0 noes. Thank you, colleagues. Item number 32, we already did at the beginning of the meeting. I'm going to drop down on the agenda all the way to item number 46. And I believe we have Councilmember Winslow on the line with us. I'm going to...
Yes, I'm here.
Does the substitute change the caption? Does it change the amount?
It changes the caption and the amount from 41,000 down to 13,000.
Okay. So I'm going to read the caption as 21-0-1768, an ordinance by Councilor Cleta Winslow authorizing the transfer of $31,000.00 from the District 4 Carry Forward account to the Department of Transportation for replacement of streetlights in the historic West End. And I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
All right, let's vote on bringing forward the substitute.
Vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
All right, that's 6 yeses and 0 noes. Councilor Winslow, are you ready for us to move this forward today?
Yes, with the substitute of 13,000. So
So the amount of money is supposed to be 13,000. I heard 31,000.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Okay.
That. let me then read it back in just so it is clear on the record. What I should have said is an ordinance authorizing the transfer of $13,500 from the District 4 carry forward account to the Department of Transportation for the installation of Victorian light bulbs and fixtures on Gordon Place Southwest and People Street Southwest, and for other purposes. That's what the substitute says.
That's correct. This is actually a replacement of lights that have gone bad. So.
Okay. Well, I will make a motion to approve on substitute.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
That sounds like that's going to be very pretty.
It's going to be beautiful.
All right, that is favorable on substitute. 6 yeses, 0 no's, and we'll all have to go by and see your fancy lights soon.
Yeah, thank you, colleagues. I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. We are next at item number 48, which is 210038. There is also a substitute for this one, so let me just make sure I get the caption right this time. Give me 1 second. Okay. A substitute ordinance by Finance Executive Committee, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Fulton and DeKalb counties to conduct the 2021 City of Atlanta municipal general election or any special elections held in conjunction therewith on November 2nd, 2021, and if necessary, to conduct a City of Atlanta general runoff election to be held on November 30th, 2021, or such other authorized date in an amount not to exceed $2,338,912.00 to appoint the Fulton and DeKalb County Board of Registration and Elections with the Director of Fulton and DeKalb County's Department of Registration and Elections acting as its agent as municipal election superintendent for the purpose of conducting said elections as absentee ballot clerk and as municipal registrar and for other purposes. So I'll make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second.
Let's open the vote on bringing forward the substitute.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
All right, the substitute is Forrest with 6 yeses, 0 no's. I believe this is pretty self-explanatory, but Mr. Webb, anything we need to know about this paper?
Yes, Madam Chair, Forrest Webb III, City of Atlanta Municipal Clerk, Election Superintendent. First of all, I'd like to respectfully request that the substitute be approved and forwarded subsequently to CLC, scheduled for the May 17th, 2021 City Council meeting and subsequently adopted by the full council. In general, the substitute amends the captioning throughout the legislation to add to CAB the dollar amount and the funding stream for the municipal general election and the runoff in the amount not to exceed $2,338,912 for the general election, which will be November 2nd, as noted, and November 30th will be the runoff, as well as DeKalb County was not omitted from the legislation. In the past, we've had Fulton County to facilitate DeKalb and their residents when it came to elections, but Fulton County is elected not to do so, so we'll be contracting with both. And just as a matter of information, Fulton County has changed the way in which they will be billing the City of Atlanta, which our bill has went down slightly.
and that they will charge us $2.96 per voter. And for the runoff, they will charge us $2.46 per voter. And currently we have 376,183 registered voters. And that will be the calculated formula primarily to conduct the election. And I'm available for any questions, should you have any.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Webb. Anybody have questions about the election paper? All right. Then let's move it forward on substitute. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yes, Archibald.
All right, this item is favorable on substitute with 6 yeses and, oh, I'm sorry, 6 yeses there and 0 no's. It actually needed to be referred to Committee on Council. Ms. Kempson-Wright, do I need to redo that?
No, Madam Chair, this is the recommendation. You took that first from Finance, and now you can make a motion to refer to Committee on Council.
Okay, I will make a motion to refer to Committee on Council.
Second.
Let's open the vote on the motion to refer.
One moment. The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
Still seeing 5. Are we missing somebody? There it goes. 6. 6 yeses, 0 no's. This item will be referred to Committee on Council. This takes us to Section N, our papers that have been referred from other committees. Item number 53 is 21-00225. An ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor, who designee, or the chief procurement officer, or his designee, on behalf of the City of Atlanta to acquire from the Conservation Fund 15 parcels comprising of approximately 5.61 aggregate acres of real property adjacent to Paul Avenue Northwest and Bernard Road Northwest for development as a park at a total purchase price not to exceed $1,071,304.23, authorizing the mayor, her designee, or the chief procurement officer, or his designee, on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary to acquire the property, authorizing acquisition, due diligence, closing costs, signage, demolition, site stabilization, and other site development costs to be paid from the Park Impact Fee North account, amending the 2020 General Government Capital Outlay Fund budgets in the Department of Parks and Recreation and Department of Finance Parks North Service District by transferring to and from various accounts listed, waiving Section 2-1541D of Article 10 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta, and for other purposes. And this was favorable from CDHS earlier this week, in fact yesterday, and it's come to us just because of the waiver of the procurement code. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
Archibald, yes.
All right, this item's favorable. 6 yeses and 0 no's. Item number 54, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the CFO to amend the fiscal year 2022 general fund budget by transferring an amount not to exceed $29,395,388.79 from the committed fund balance to the Capital Finance Fund, and to amend 21R3146 by updating the funding account stream for EA-F-1200169 supplemental staffing services and for other purposes. And this was forwarded with no recommendation to FEC by CDHS at the request of the department. Can somebody from Finance speak to this? Tell us what this paper does? Or are we supposed to hold it here and Finance for now.
Madam Chair, to my knowledge, the Department of Finance has asked that we hold it while they work out the remaining funding with planning.
Okay, so they just wanted to move it forward to FEC, but leave it here for another cycle or two.
Yes.
All right, then I will make a motion to hold.
Second.
All right, let's open the vote.
Vote is open.
Archibong, yes.
All right, that was 6 yeses, 0 no's to hold in committee. I believe that is the close of our legislative items. Ms. Councilor Wright, was there anything else on the legislative items? And then I'll make an announcement about the rest of the week.
No, Madam Chair, that concludes all of our legislative items.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. That was a lot to get through today. Tomorrow, I hope that both my colleagues and the public can join us as we kick off the departmental briefing schedule. We're going to start at 10 o'clock. At 10, we have Atlanta Police Department. At 11, we have Atlanta Fire and Rescue. We're going to take a break for lunch. 1 o'clock, we have corrections. 2 o'clock, we have the municipal court. 3 o'clock, Officer of the Solicitor. And 3:30, the Office of the Public Defender. All of this will be virtual, as we did it last year. And then Friday, we're going from 10 to 2. 10 will have Public Works. 11 will have Department of Transportation. 12:30 we'll have Watershed Management. And 1:30 we will have Customer Service, ATL 311. So I look forward to hearing from those departments, and I hope that City Council colleagues can join, as can the listening public. Anything else, Ms. Kempson-Wright, that we need to cover today?
No.
All right. Well, I will make a motion to adjourn. Everybody have a good evening. Bye.